What's there?
The wardrobe. Pick a dress.
So the TARDIS has dresses? And Mike's a bit of trouble. Yeah, I think I'm low-key in love with her.
Me too.
Hello, Red Spotters. Welcome to another lovely episode of Who Knows. I'm your host, Kyle Lira, here, and with me, the only person on the panel who watches Doctor... Well, not as if lately.
Okay, well, that's interesting development, yeah.
Lately, our very own Peter Martinez has been watching Doctor Who.
Which could be a good
and
thing or a bad thing, we don't know yet.
Mostly it's shaping up to be a bad thing.
Well, to be fair, he's only watching up to... Have you gave him Tenant's run yet?
Yes, I gave him the first season of Tenant's run.
Okay. And how did he like the first Eccleston run?
Very clunky.
Uh-huh.
He said it's very clunky. He said it's very inconsistent with itself.
I see.
Yeah. So it's shaping up to be a bad thing. I mean, there is the main expression throughout the whole entire show to explain things, and it's called wibbly wobbly timey wimey.
Which means you can't explain them.
Which just means go with it. So that's a little wink and a nod to that. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Tennant's run or Eccleston's. Maybe one day we'll get to that. One day I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. We are going to be talking about Thin Ice, the latest episode from the 10th series. I thought it was an outstanding episode. I think this season is on a roll. It really is. I mean, just the way that Capaldi and Mackie work each other. I mean, it's the dynamic duo that, quite frankly, I have not seen since Miss Sarah Jane in the Fourth Doctor. That kind of dynamic between them two, just this pure platonic relationship between them two. It's kind of like a mixture of Donna Noble and Sarah Jane. That kind of companionship between the two, with a little bit of Ace thrown in there. You don't know who Ace is. Ace was the companion for the Seventh Doctor, Sylvester McCoy. So just the comparisons between that. I mean, you really get the best of the best with Mackie. And here she is again, like how she did with Smile and the pilot. She's questioning things that nobody asked before, like how they go back in drama in a period, and she questions I'm of color, slavery is still a thing, and just like little things like that, and how the main villain isn't an alien or a robot or anything like that. He's just an racist asshole, and I find that really, really well, not cool, but like it's kind of refreshing to see a more adapt to a modern day villain versus the run of the mill monster that you see in any other Doctor Who episode. It's just just a human asshole, and that was it was kind of neat having a little bit of that in there. Yeah. Alexis, what did you think of the episode?
I thought that everything you said was pretty much on the money here. There's actually a lot I have to say, and I'm trying to figure out where to start first, because this was a great episode, and it's really shaping up to be an amazing season. And I don't know, someone pointed this out, not on this network or in this panel, but one of the reviewers that I watch pointed out that this season has felt very much like old school Russell T Davies.
Yes, I did feel that. I felt very almost Girl in the Fireplace.
Right.
Meets the Wasp, the Horse and the Wasp. The episode where Donna Noble and Tennant, they went to go meet Agatha Christie.
The bees.
Yeah, the bees. Cue Nicolas Cage clip here. Yeah, it did feel like a classic episode, and even it felt like it went further than that. It felt like it belonged with all eras of Doctor Who.
It did, and I like, for me, it's like every episode of this season has felt like that new, like a combo of a classic Doctor Who episode mixed with what we have in this generation, in this era. But I think what's really interesting about all of these episodes that has been the main focus so far is the developing relationship between the Doctor and his companion. And I have to say, I loved Bill in the first episode. I loved her in the second episode. She is getting better by the episode, and so is the dynamic between her and the Doctor. Yes.
Like, I loved how Capaldi kind of went to his 8th season Doctor a little bit, like in terms of like his personality.
Oh,
when
yes,
he went dark.
Yes.
When he knew that the kid was gonna die, and he knew that he wasn't gonna save him, but he couldn't lose his sonic screwdriver, so he just went in and grabbed his sonic screwdriver.
We need to actually like spend some time and talk about that exchange between 12 and Bill, because I think that was very key to who the Doctor is. I think the way it was filmed kind of made it seem that like the Doctor was more interested in getting back his sonic screwdriver than saving the kid. But of course, the Doctor knew as well as we did that there was nothing he could do. At that point, I'm sorry, that kid was a goner. And it's not to say as if he doesn't feel bad for... of course he does. He regrets and personally is pained when any loss of human life happens. And I think what's really interesting is we actually got to see the companion react that way, which, it's almost... I'm not sure if we've had such complexities, or not complexities, but such an emotional exchange with other past companions about them experiencing someone die in front of their eyes.
It wasn't like that, but we've had like some sort of drastic companionship emotion from remember in the fires of Pompeii.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Remember when Donna was like just save somebody. It doesn't have to be the whole town. Just save somebody. And we kind of got that with Bill in this episode.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
so it's really cool.
But I mean, she was really, and the dynamic of this episode really allows Bill to kind of get more bits about the Doctor's history, and especially when she was asking him, "Have you ever killed anyone?" And and
immediately I thought of the general in the I think it's Heaven Sent.
Yes.
Yeah. So I remember that, and how he kept quiet, and it's the art of subtlety that they really display through the performances.
But it's also
here.
What he said after. It's, of course I care, but I move on. I have to move on, but if I don't move on, others will die. More will die if I don't do that. That's the thing about it. I can't mourn every single person I lose. I have to do my best to keep others from dying. And I actually feel the more that I think about it... Well, before I get to that point, I want to make sure I make this point that Capaldi and Mackie are on fire. And that scene especially really showed how powerful Mackie can go. The range of her performance is quite extraordinary, I have to say. Mm-hmm. And she really does like go toe-to-toe with Capaldi, which is certainly saying something. But I also...
Yeah, because Capaldi is a class act as an actor, man. And knowing that they're... it's almost like competing. They're competing with each other.
Which is great.
Because you have the more cinematic side with Jenna Coleman, and then you had the more theatrical, classically trained element with Capaldi, and here you're getting both. Right. You're getting both sides of the classically trained elements in there. So that's a cool way of of putting it.
Yeah, definitely. But I also wanted to say that I'm almost wondering if perhaps you should have just let Peter start the series with this season, because all of the questions he's having, I think, would have been perfectly answered with these 3 episodes. If you really think about it.
I think this episode is this season is a really good jumping off point.
It is. It certainly is. And kind of like, oh, maybe you should have just let Peter watch these episodes instead of.
Yeah.
Because I think
I made a huge mistake, to quote.
Yeah.
To quote Joe Bluth, I've made a huge mistake.
The first series with Eccleston really isn't the best introductory point. It kind of just goes all over the place, and it kind of like lets you figure out the answers for yourself. You know,
which is not a good thing in terms of
no, it definitely isn't. But I also want to get to a couple of really interesting, like a lot of like moments that really just like the dialogue this episode was incredible.
Yeah, one of my favorite lines. Like, there's 2 lines that stick out to me. Number 1, the adoration for the TARDIS. Like when Bill was like, she likes dresses and likes a little bit of trouble. I think I'm falling in love with her. And then the doctor says, me too. Just that little adoration of the TARDIS kind of thing.
Or when they first get there, and like when the doctor says to Bill, I told you, you don't steer the TARDIS, you negotiate with her. She's a bad girl. Or I mean,
shit.
But there are a lot of moments where the comedy is just great whenever he and Bill going back and forth between Peter or the guy that apparently disappeared through time, because remember that there was this running gag about this person that they met, and then he disappeared because she was asking these time travel questions.
Oh yeah, I remember that. And she is like, then why haven't she like remembered him or something like that? And like, that's what Peter said or something like that. And it's just also another thing that was really cool.
Yeah,
was when they stepped off the TARDIS,
right,
and they saw the civilians, and she was like, this period is a lot more blacker than I thought. And then the doctor said, so was Jesus. History's a whitewash.
Well, it is. It's also very politically astute. Other lines I wanted to point out was when when Bill began noticing the lights under the ice, and then she was asking the doctor about time travel side effects, and then he was like, oh yeah, sometimes you see lights under the ice.
Like constantly messing with her.
I love it.
It's great.
I love it. Oh, one more thing. When they're at the kids' tent or whatever they're living at, and then when he says "hang tight" and later's, and then as they're walking out, did you see I was being down with the kids and y'all? No.
What did he do?
Remember, this was they were with the lost children, right, or the homeless kids in their place where they live at.
Yeah.
And as they were leaving to go in search of something else, the doctor was like, okay, hang tights, laters. And as they walk out, he was telling Bill, did you see I was being all down with the kids and all? And then she was like, my hair was cringing. And these are 18th century kids, by the way.
It just shows how alien he is. Like, he has that's what I love about this doctor. Like, he tries so hard to relate to like humans, and he can't. He's socially awkward. It's great.
Oh, and the psychic paper.
Yeah, it came back.
I was like, and he was like, I have not done that in a long time.
Yeah, ever since the Mummy on the Orient Express, he hasn't used it.
And even then, before Mummy in the Orient, which was season 8, did he use it in season 8 that much or not really? I don't.
Not that much.
I don't think this
I think
doctor
that was
has
the only
used it that
time
much at all. Like, I know that Tennant used it almost all the time. I don't remember about Smith.
I think he used it once in a while.
Right. Whenever it was necessary.
I think I think Tenet used it the most in terms of like new Who.
You can also tell the Doctor himself is just having a lot of fun.
Yeah, like who knew that that the Doctor was a petty crook?
He was just trying to compliment the thief, and then the thief threw him out.
Yeah.
I guess we should get to one of the big moments in this episode, and that is the encounter with Lord Sutcliffe, the racist douchebag.
Yeah, and I love how that's just what he is.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing went down, them expecting him to be this alien, because, of course, the episode revolves around this monster that's underneath the city and eating. And so apparently it's these corrupt financiers or rich people, essentially, who are feeding people to this creature and then essentially turning them into fuel, which is disgusting all in itself. But then when they show up there, the part where they realize, oh wait, he's not an alien, is just how completely and disgustingly racist he is. And then so much of the Doctor's like speech about, going in level-headed and negotiation, he just fucking knocks him out, which I love.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's great. Which just shows, which push comes to shove, it shows that you're not too old to punch a Nazi.
Oh shit. Okay. That's intense, but yeah.
Oh jeez, Rick. Oh, that was a Rick and Morty reference.
But, I mean, that was so vile. Did you see the Bill's face? Like, oh my god, that was horrifying. I was just, oh god. And then later on, I think what was a really interesting moment, I was reading a review, and I thought they brought up this really great point. Remember back, I think one of the best moments this Doctor, or any Doctor, has had, the Zygon inversion, the war monologue, right?
Yeah, and that was an amazing episode.
And that really got to for Peter Capaldi to show off his range and deliver that, and how bombastic it was, and it should have been that way. But in contrast to that, he also had this nice little speech here after they were captured, when he was talking about how your life is, or your legacy is worth how much you value a life, and how understated and how almost sad he was when he delivered that. I thought that was a quiet moment, and I think it also just showed another level of Peter Capaldi's range. I think it was a wonderfully delivered speech, one that is quite true and also quite sad, considering this guy just, nope, he wasn't having any of it.
Yeah. And it just shows the Doctor's character. The Doctor is pretty progressive in terms of like his morality.
Well, I mean, we got to keep in mind he comes from a different planet, a different time. Like
they're much more civilized than Earth.
The irony is he comes from an advanced civilization which he couldn't stand. He hates his own race.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, actually, before we move on to the other parts of the episode, I want to make sure this is very clear, because Peter did bring up an interesting question. So, and I know this, but just to make it 100% clear, the Doctor is on this planet because he loves humans, because he admires them. He admires humanity, the spontaneity. What is it about humans that he's
he's constantly enthralled, because our humanity, unlike a lot of aliens that he encounters, is very black and white.
Right.
There's hardly any gray in terms of all these monsters that he comes across. The Daleks, very, very black and white. The Cybermen, very black and white. The Centaurians, very black and white. Here, he gets a true sense of what the color he gets a true sense of the shade gray, So that's a huge thing that intrigues him. And also another thing, ever since going back to the second Doctor, ever since he was exiled here on Earth, this is his home.
Right.
This is more of a home than Gallifrey ever was.
But even though it's his home, and this also brings up another key point of this episode, is he still, as he puts it, serves at the pleasure of the human race. Kind of like, I think the episode was called Kill the Moon. back in season 8, he left the decision about what to do with this creature to the hands of his companion, or the humans.
Yeah. Because he said that, he's pretty much indebted to the humans. Not like indebted, like he owes them something, but like because he's a willing servant for this planet. When that's what makes him so heroic. It's kind of like how Superman came to this Earth. He could go to many other planets, many other universes, and protect those exclusively, but Superman chose Earth to protect, and that's the whole thing about the Doctor that's so enthralling, that he has this complete adoration for our planet, and that year by year, regeneration by regeneration, he's becoming more human than he realizes.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And so that's a really cool thing that he is. Speaking of that, there are elements that I've noticed that were similar to other episodes. Specifically, the whole monster under the Thames thing. The whole backbone of the thing reminded me of The Beast Below.
The Beast Below. That is what episode?
It was, I think, it was Smith, and it was the second episode of his 5th season. Remember when he went to New London, and it was up in the sky, and they were on that ship, and the entire ship was on the back of a space whale.
Oh.
Remember that?
Yeah.
It reminded me very much of that, like the whole you're killing it kind of thing. And it just left off. It was really nice. A lot of the set pieces was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
From what I understand, when I watched the behind the scenes stuff, the whole village on the river thing was pretty much filmed in a room. And that was cool. Like, I thought that they filmed it like somewhere out in the open and all that. Nope. They filmed it pretty much in the equivalent of a 1-story house.
Wow.
And that whole village was inside of it. And that it just shows how well the set designs are in this. And then also a couple of costume pieces were really cool. I really loved seeing Capaldi in colonial clothes.
Oh yeah, I mean he was really getting into it.
And Pearl Mackie in the green suede dress was really cool seeing. And the feather to top it off. I want to ask you this.
Yeah.
Who is in that vault?
Yeah. Well, the one thing I took away from that ending is knock, knock, knock.
But it didn't knock 4 times, though. It was only 3 times.
Oh, I thought it was 3 times, not 4 times.
The master knocks 4 times.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, then, I don't know.
I don't know neither.
That's it, then. I have no clue. Do you have any idea at all?
No, to be honest with you.
Come on.
I have no freaking
idea.
idea.
You have no idea.
Strax. In the glory of the Centaurian Empire.
No, I don't think it's them. But where are they? I want to see them back.
I want to see them back too.
It's crazy.
It
Overall,
is crazy.
I have to say, I am really, really loving this season. I am loving this series, and the more that I see, the more I don't want it to end.
Ditto. But yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I really enjoy this season. I really enjoy what they're doing with it. The dialogue is outstanding. The dialogue, the chemistry between Mackie and Capaldi, the writing, the storytelling, the set pieces. They're really giving this season their all. Which why Capaldi? Why does this have to be your last? Just stick around for a while.
It feels like he's just getting started.
Yeah, it really does. And we all know the Christmas special is going to be an emotional wreck for me. I that's going to be a very depressing Christmas. Not in terms of like cherishment, in terms of like family, but in terms of like why. But anyway, final thoughts, Alexis.
Yeah, this was a great episode, great season. I love every little bit of it, and I just want more. That's yeah, go ahead.
Let me tell you one thing. They for sure aren't skating on thin ice right here.
Really? Well, so much as we have your attention, go make sure to watch Agents of Hydra every Tuesday on ABC, 10 p.m. New episode coming up with you tonight. And don't forget to watch the season finale on May 16th featuring Ghost Rider.
I hope it's freaking renewed.
Are you okay?
I could be better. Alexis.
Yes.
Damn you.
Okay.
All right. I am your host, Kyle Lira, and watch Doctor Who, ladies and gentlemen, on BBC One and BBC America. It airs at the same time, 7:30, both sides of the pond. Wherever you could catch it,
BBC iPlayer,
watch it on
iTunes.
BBC iPlayer, iTunes. Catch it on air if you get BBC. Yeah. So without further ado, I'm your host Kyle Lira, and maybe.